concept that we are going to be dealing with and finish up this section of physical security. Okay, we're going to look at access control. Access control. So we're going to look at physical barriers, security measures, and all of that. Okay, so when we talk about physical barrier in access control vestibule act as a physical barrier between exterior and secure area, and it requires a person to pass through two sets of doors, effectively creating a control space. And I believe sometimes if you go to the bank, the banking system probably have that kind of physical barrier that we're talking about. It's an access control vestibule. It acts as a physical barriers between exterior and the secure area, and it requires a person to pass through two sets of doors, effectively creating a control space, right? Okay, so that's what, and if I could um, show you, I wasn't able to, okay. And so the next one is security measures. They're there as security measure. It incorporates a range of security measures such as security cameras. Sometimes there are motion cameras and access control system to monitor and restrict entry, right? And again, like I said, you can find these at banks, data center, government building where securing sensitive area is critical. So when you go to the bank, you may see this kind of access control point because of the sensitiveness of the data. It is very important that these are implemented as a part of their security measures. Door locks is another one. Mechanical door locks. Traditionally, key operated locks rely on physical key to unlock doors, offering basic security, right? So all of these that we're talking about is physical security. They are all physical security. So we can use mechanical locks. We can use smart locks and electronic locks. So when we talk about mechanical locks, we're talking about the traditional key operating locks, which relies on physical key to unlock the door and offering basic security. Smart locks are those locks that are integrated with mobile devices or network for remote access, control, and monitoring, enable the convenience and security. And we have electronic locks. It utilizes access card, key cards, or biometrics for authorization, providing advanced security. All all of this is a part of physical security, guys. You must understand that we're talking about physical security. Door lock is there as a physical security. Fencing is there as a physical security. You know, ballards are there as a physical security. And then another thing that we can use for security is badge access, right? And even when we are trying to use these badges, we can end up having people cloning those badges. And so many times you see people in a building, how did they get in it? Sometimes that they took somebody else's badge that are legit and they clone that badge. So badge are one piece of item that you can use to gain physical access, right? And it is also there as a physical security entry point. So unauthorized duplication of access badges allow entry without proper authorization. And if the badge gets into the hands of the wrong individual, they can clone that badge and they can gain entry into the property. RFID scanners can be tricked into granting access with clown badges, right? Compromise access badge threaten security and confidentiality, because if the badge are if the badges if that particular badge is compromised, then what it can do is to threaten the security of everybody. So we want to ensure that every person that is entering a physical building where there are sensitive data, that they are being scrutinized, and also validate their authorization to get into that building or into that particular data space. So we have to make sure that we are always ahead of these criminals, right? And then we have layers of physical security. We have the perimeter security, and we talk about those early. We just going back over some of them. It's like we're going over them. We talk about the perimeter, the fencing, the ballard, the lighting, and the building security. And we have the data security, which is the encryption, the firewall. So when we talk about data security, we're going to deal with that sometime in this course, where we use encryptions and firewall. But the layers are perimeter security, building security, and data security. So what we just dealt with really is the perimeter of security, which is the fencing and the ballard and the lighting, and then the building security, which is the access control and the surveillance, right? So a comprehensive approach to physical security involves multiple layers. A comprehensive approach to physical security involves multiple layers. This creates a more robust defense by making it harder for attackers to overcome all of the layers. Implementing security measure at the perimeter the perimeter building levels and data level can reduce the risk of threat. So when we implement the perimeter security and the building security, all of these are there as a robust measure to defend against attackers or intruders, to make it very hard for them to gain access. And the next concept that we're going to look at is inside threat mitigation. Let's just make sure. Let me quickly run up to the objective and run up to the objective right here. Give me a second. I need to look at the objective. So badge cloning was the last one that we have to deal with. We deal with door locks. So as you can see, all of these are part of physical security. And so access control, we deal with all of these objectives this morning. So now we're just going to be just looking at, for short, the inside threat, because not only are individuals from the outside a threat, but we do have individual on the inside who can be a threat to our assets, right? And these are what we call inside threat, right? Inside threats. So these are persons from within the organization that can become a threat to the organization. Sometimes they are the one that's stealing the data and stealing property stuff. They are the one that leaking information. They are the one that are misconducting. They are the one that sabotaging the system. But for this inside threat mitigation, we can only do something that will mitigate our internal threat, right? Like our employees' internal threat to physical security, right? Employees may intentionally or unintentionally compromise security. Sometimes they are the one that do it. Sometimes, like I said, they stealing the data. They are the one that doing all the sabotaging, right? So let's look at some assessment. So those slides weren't really supposed to probably have been in that particular era, but it's okay. So let's look at some general multiple choices. These multiple choices and short answer question, they cover all the topics that we have done so far. So it deals with all of the topics that we have covered so far, right? Number one question, remember that all of these multiple choices that we're doing, they have covered all the concept that we have done in physical security. What is the primary purpose of fencing in physical security? What is the primary purpose of fencing in physical security? A, to monitor activity around the facility. B, to restrict unauthorized access to a property, to access, to restrict unauthorized access to a property. C, to act as a barrier against environmental threats. D, to provide a decorative feature for the property. So what is the primary purpose of fencing in physical security? And we talked about that. We said physical security, they are barriers and perimeters that are put in place to safeguard the company's assets and personnel against theft and against damage, right? So we would say the answer could be B, right? To restrict unauthorized access to a property. So we put all of these fencing and all of these perimeters in place to ensure against unauthorized access to a property. Number two, what is a common attack method using brute force in a physical security? And we talk about brute force in physical security is using whatever human power or tool at hand to force our way into a building, right? Unauthorized area. So, what is a common attack method using brute force in physical security? A, hacking the network system. B, breaking through a door or window. C, cloning access badge. D, disabling surveillance system. And so, since brute force using physical means is we will use B because it is breaking through a door or a window. And we said that when we use brute force, these are usually loud means, right? They're loud because you have to break something or force down something, okay? Next question. Which of the following is the benefit of using surveillance system? And we talk about surveillance systems and we said they are there. Usually some of them have infrared cameras. They are placed at strategic location. They are there as CCTV, right? And we said that the CCTV, they are there to to get live footage or live happenings, live events of what's going on our premise. Okay, so which of the following is the benefit of using surveillance system? A, provides a physical barrier to the entry. B, record and monitor activity in real time. C, prevent unauthorized personnel from entering a building. D, issue an access badge automatically. And so, because surveillance, remember, it has to do with monitoring activity, and those activities you actually get them in real time, right? So, surveillance are part of physical security. They are there to monitor and to record activities in real time. Let's move on. What is a method what is a method to bypass surveillance system? And we talk about how people can, or intruders can bypass surveillance system. They use different ways, whether it's be disguise, whether it's be to spray paint on the camera, whether it's using blind spot. Remember, we talk about those areas where surveillance camera are not so much picking up. They try to use those as a blind spot. So what is a method of bypassing surveillance system? Is it A, cloning an access badge, B, using a camouflage or disguise, C, installing additional door locks, D, setting up an alarm system? And we would say they would use camouflage or disguise. So they do that a lot of time, use camouflage or they disguise themselves to bypass the surveillance system. And a lot of thief does that a lot of time when they are breaking into buildings. They camouflage, they use all kind of means to get in, right? Next question. What is the purpose of access control vestibules in physical security? Right? Is it A, to store sensitive data securely, B, to create a buffer zone between two security area, C, to monitor employees' activities, and D, to allow for free access to all personnel. And we will use B because it creates a buffer zone between two secure areas. So when you talk about access control and vestibule, they're talking about double, it creates a buffer, right? We say that it's a buffer, but it's like a double area that you have to pass through, double entrance that have to pass through, and it usually has more than one um, entrance you have to go through to be authenticated or authorized. Next question. Which type of lock is typically considered the most secure for physical security? Which one would you do? Is it keypad lock, deadbolt locks, magic locks, or biometric locks? And we think we'll put biometric because biometric is something you are. So I believe that biometric would have been a better answer. Next question. What is access badge cloning used for in physical security breach? What is access badge cloning used for in security breach? Is it A, to track employees' movement, B, to allow unauthorized personnel entry into a secure area, C, to monitor surveillance system, D, to disable door lock? And we know that it is to allow unauthorized personnel into secure area. So we're going to look at some short answer questions. What role do bollards play in physical security? What role do bollard play in physical security? And we did a lot of um, scenario on bollard. Bollard are used to prevent vehicle access to restricted area. It protecting against vehicle ramming attacks and secure the pedestrian zone, right? Describe how brute force attack can be used to bypass physical security. Brute force attack typically involve through physical breaking through barriers such as doors or windows, using tools, right? They use forces and tools or vehicle to gain unauthorized access. So brute force is breaking through doors or windows by force, and they use certain kind of tools to gain unauthorized access. Why is it important to secure surveillance camera? Why is it important to secure surveillance camera? Securing surveillance camera is crucial to ensure that they are not tampered with, disabled, hacked, which would allow intruders to avoid detection. Because you have to know in physical security that these cameras must be secured because intruders can disable them, they can hack them even inside individual, and they can tamper with it. That's why a lot of people get away with so many things, because so many times what happened is that these cameras, they tamper with the cameras. If you have a security that deals with the surveillance camera, sometimes for different reason they can tip somebody off, and that tipping off can lead to them giving information, right? Like, I'm tipping you off and I want you to delete that camera from yesterday. Or the intruder get into the camera system and they can tamper with the footage that are there, the evidence that are there. Give an example of how an intruder might bypass an access control vestibule. An intruder might bypass an access control vestibule by tailgating legit user, entering the vestibule where the door opens for authorized personnel. And sometimes we see that people just standing, and if you are in one of those buildings and from New York like I am, and you will have a lot of people sometimes trying to tailgate in you, trying to stand up there, waiting for somebody to come in, pretending like they can find their keys, their ID card or something, and they tailgate you to come inside of the building. So that's one way they can do that, right? Next question, what are some potential security risks associated with access control badge cloning? Access control badge cloning allows unauthorized individual to gain access to restricted area, potentially leading to theft, data breach, or other security incident. So that is what it creates for them. So we have gone over a great deal of slides and we have come to the end of this physical security. I am grateful that we were able to go through. We dealt with quite a bit of concept here, right? And you also have the quizzes. If there's anything that you don't understand, you could always reach out to me and I could help you along the way. So have a great day.